Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 13, and this video is for Katina and Olajuwon. Be sure to check out my other videos of the other couples. Towards the end of this video, you will see above my head a link to my other videos, including the after party. Be sure to check them out. But let's get into this Katina and Olajuwon episode. Well, unfortunately, we are back here a little bit again with foot and mouth disease with Olajuwon. But let me tell you something. You know who I have the biggest disappointment in this episode? It's actually the experts. I don't think the experts helped Olajuwon out at all. Not one bit. I know a lot of y'all gonna be shocked about that, but I really do believe they also need to take some accountability for how they didn't show up for Olajuwon. It's really interesting. You know, I've been saying for quite a long time now that all this bad behavior, not only for Lindsay, for Mark, for Olajuwon, and even for Jasmina, I've been saying that all this bad behavior is just a shield, a cover-up for something deeper lying underneath all of them. And what I did like about this episode is that finally the experts started digging in on Mark and Lindsay and telling them where their real issues coming from, letting them know that this anger that you're showing on the outside is really a cover-up for something deeper. So what they didn't do was they didn't go in and judge Lindsay and Mark. What they did do was help them figure out what their real emotions are lying underneath. They did the same thing with Jasmina. As mean as Jasmina was, as mean as Lindsay's been to Mark, as mean as Alyssa was to Chris early in the season, why isn't Olajuwon getting the same treatment? Why aren't they going deep with Olajuwon and figuring out where he has learned how to express his emotions this way? Instead, what they're attacking, and I agree with Olajuwon, what they're judging is his behavior. We all know that his behavior is reprehensible and that he shouldn't be doing it. But just talking about somebody's behavior isn't what gets the progress. That's not what gets the change. You've got to go deeper, and they missed an opportunity with Olajuwon to go deeper and to go deeper into his past. I'll give it to Pastor Cal, but he did tell Katina to start asking some more questions on where this comes from, but that's not enough. Katina needs some help. Just like Michael needs help with Jasmina because she's got a whole lot of deep issues, just like Mark needs to help with Lindsay because she's got a whole lot of deep issues, Katina also needed a little help. But instead, they were like, oh, just go do this. No. She needed some more help. And I'll give it to Katina. Katina is doing a wonderful job handling the situation that she's in because she is clearly the superior one when it comes to handling her emotions in this relationship. Just like Steve is more superior than Nori, just like who knew that Mike will be more superior than Jasmina, and just like Mark is more superior than Lindsay. Now, are all these people good enough to handle some of these emotional problems these people have on their own? No, but you know what? They're doing a good job. And so is Katina. Just like Pastor Cal told Olajuwon, he better be thankful, lucky, count his lucky stars that he got paired with Katina, because Katina has the skills of almost better than some of these experts. And that little scene where Olajuwon couldn't even admit that he loved Katina, that further proved he don't hardly know what the heck he's doing out here. Olajuwon needs to understand how his outward words, his outward actions are masking something deeper. He's afraid to tell Katina that he loves her. He avoids it like a plague. That's the deeper dive they need to do with Olajuwon for stuff like that. If you watch my after party video, one of the things Olajuwon said on the after party was he was overflowing with praise for Katina. He said that he has never met a woman who has such patience with him. He's never met a woman who doesn't judge him. He's never met a woman who makes him question who he is every day, but in fact doesn't judge him. He's never met a woman who is soft-spoken. He's never met a woman who teaches him and learns to make him a better person. He said he has never experienced his character in a woman. And you can tell he's never experienced it. And this has been the problem with Olajuwon his whole life. Nobody has really taken the time and the patience to sit down with him and uncover all of this. It's the same thing going on with Lindsay. No one has ever done the work with her. Their personalities are so abrasive that what they do is they push people away. And no one has ever sat down and said, hey, we're going to peel through this muck and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Same thing with Jasmina. She got a lot of muck too. And one of the things that this experiment is helping with Lindsay, Olajuwon, and Jasmina is because they were paired up and they were married, these husbands, these wives have now got to do the work with their spouses. But everybody wanted to put down Katina for doing the work. This is the work she should be doing because she's trying to save her marriage. It's just the same sort of work that Michael needs to do with Jasmina, because we figured out she's not the superior one. It's the same work they're trying to get Mark to do with Lindsay. One of the things Olajuwon didn't like with Dr. Pepper is when she came in, she came straight in with a place of judgment. She didn't ask him any questions. She didn't ask about where his emotions came from, nothing. She came right in judging his behavior. And another thing, one of the things she pointed to was him feeling a sense of superiority. I think that's the wrong thing to start with. Just like nobody's telling Lindsay she shouldn't be sad, I don't think necessarily you should be telling Olajuwon that he's not the superior one necessarily in his marriage. Now listen, hear me out. I know a lot of people got triggered by that already. Listen, we live in a society where there are hierarchies. Your boss is your superior. Your God is your superior. Your pastor is your superior. Listen, there's always going to be a head of something. And it is clear that Olajuwon wants to be the head of his family. So instead of telling him he's not the superior one, he's not the king of his house, start teaching him how to lead. Teach him that the way he's leading right now isn't a mark of strength. It's a mark of weakness. His inability to control his passion, as he talks about it, that is not a strength. That is a weakness. He has to learn how to control himself a whole lot better than he does. But don't keep trying to tell him that he's not the leader of his house. Let me tell you, if a woman started walking around talking about she was the queen of the house, the last thing she would want is she'd want somebody to come telling her she's not the queen. No, that's not what you do. If she wants to feel she's the queen of her house, okay, how do you lead like a queen? How does a queen look? And that's where they need to concentrate with Olajuwon. Instead of telling him he's not superior and he's not the king of his house, stop telling him that. Telling him how to lead as a strong leader, a gracious leader, a more thoughtful leader. That's where they should start. Having a sense of you that you're the superior in any situation, that is not the problem. The problem is, how do you use that power? How do you use that position? That's where the problem comes in, and that's what they need to address. And they need to figure out, why does he need to use his power in the way that he's using it? Get to the root of the problem and really help this man. As a woman that's around a lot of boys and a lot of men, you often see boys and men, especially black men, show anger in situations where there's deeper emotions. But instead, what we tend to do to black men is we tend to put them in jail. We tend to put them in the principal office, and we tend to judge them as opposed to helping them. And in this episode, I'm with Olajuwon. He needed more help. Instead of dredging up the past, and when he said that Katina couldn't cook and she couldn't clean, and she was deficient in her wife skills, those were all things he had said. They were all things that were horrible. But we all know that he's clearly past that right now. They just had a whole scene with him in the grocery store, and they were having fun grocery shopping. They were talking about having a cook-off. They were going back and forth about their cooking skills. Olajuwon is past that. He's no longer harboring some of those same sentiments. So I'm like him, why are you bringing that up? Give him something now to help him move forward, not look back. Olajuwon is a poster child of a man trying to be a leader, but he's never had a good role model on how to be a leader, and that's the help that he needs. How to redirect his desire and passion to be a leader, and how to redirect it in a more constructive way. But tearing him down but tearing him down the process, that's not the way. Olajuwon is clearly an alpha male, and let me tell you, you are not going to get an alpha male. You're not going to be able to sway an alpha male by name calling them. I'm going to tell you that right now. Olajuwon's problem with his delivery isn't just a problem with Katina. His delivery and his emotions and thoughts, it was delivered in the wrong way to Dr. Pepper as well. He delivers his emotions in the wrong way. It is just not reserved for Katina. This is not a Katina thing. This is a problem he has overall. His family has talked about it. Just like I told you with Jasmina, her problems weren't germane just to Michael. Her family has talked about it. Lizzie's problems are just not germane to Mark. Her problems are in general. Her family talked about it. So you can't just talk about Olajuwon with Katina. You have to talk about Olajuwon separated and how he behaves, period. One of the things Olajuwon keeps saying is he knows all the mistakes he's made. He's apologized for them. He's learning more and more about Katina every day. He said that his approach, his stern approach, and the way he talks actually doesn't draw Katina out. It makes her close in. He talks about how he realizes she's reserved. He's looking, he's watching, he's trying to make adjustments. Now, are they as fast as everybody wants them to be? Has he made all the adjustment he needs in 6 weeks? No, but nobody else on this show has either. Neither has Noe, neither has Steve, neither has Mark, neither has Lindsay, neither has Jasmina, and neither has Michael. All these people are a work in progress, all of them. But as long as they realize what they're doing is wrong, and as long as they're trying to take steps towards correcting it, I have hope and faith for them. But when people don't realize they got something wrong with them, that's when I have a problem with them. But when people start taking accountability, then you know what? You can work with a person who has accountability. And the one thing about Olajuwon, he does have accountability. If you watch the after party, you can clearly tell that Olajuwon and Katina are together. And you know what? I don't have a problem with these two. I still stick to it. I think they're going to have a wonderful marriage. I think the road that they're on, the improvement road that Olajuwon is on, he's going to eventually get there. And I believe that Katina was the right partner for him. I think that if he had been paired with any other type of woman, they absolutely would not have made it. Not at all. Because Olajuwon is a lot to deal with. And someone has to be patient, and they have to have another set of superior skills. And you talk about superiority, Katina is superior to Olajuwon in the area of emotions. So, you know what? I don't have a problem with declaiming superiors in relationships because they exist. I'm not one of these people who think everybody is equal out here in the world. Everybody ain't equal. Everybody don't have the same talents. They don't have the same everything, and nothing is wrong with that. One of the best times I did, like the Dr. Pepper had at the end of her little session with all the couples, and it just wasn't for Olajuwon, it was for everybody. And one thing she said to the women was, your spouse is not going to be your grandmother or your mother. And she says the type of intimacy that you want from your spouse is not going to be what you get from your mother or your grandmother. Basically, she was telling women, these are men. They are not women. And if anybody ever watches any of my marriage conversations or anything else like that, I often tell women this. Listen, sometimes you're expecting way too much from these men. You're expecting them to be women, and they never will be women. And you got to stop treating men as if they are women and that they're going to think and behave like women. Instead, what you have to do is recognize that they're different people and work with them to give them techniques so that they don't disrupt the community. Olajuwon's community right now, his family is he and his wife. So it's not about trying to make Olajuwon a woman or Katina or talk like a woman or feel like a woman or think like a woman. But the work that Olajuwon needs is to be talked about. How do you stand in your own maleness, but also don't disrupt the household and create conflict and chaos? That's the work Olajuwon needs to have help with. And I think the experts in this episode sorely missed an opportunity, and I'm disappointed.